At 7, remembering the 3 students killed at Michigan State University. All 3 came from the suburban Detroit area.
And a man was seriously hurt in a South Loop shooting. Chicago police say it happened during an attempted robbery in a high-rise apartment.
Plus, Tracy has the latest on a wind advisory today and a winter storm watch for tomorrow. A lot to get you caught up on this 15th day of February.
Live from Chicago's #1 news, ABC 7 Eyewitness News at 7 starts streaming now.
Good morning, everybody. Good to be with you. I'm Terrell Brown.
And I'm Tanya Babichin for Val. Today is Wednesday, February 15th. So we have made it halfway through the week. We've also made it more than halfway through the month.
Yeah.
We are that much closer to spring.
Man, oh man, oh man. Can't believe we're flying through February. March will be here before we know it. Live look outside. 47 degrees. Thing is, it already feels like spring, Tracy. That's going to change really soon.
Oh, it's really going to change. I mean, you know, meteorological spring arrives on March 1st, but it's going to look and feel a lot more like winter tomorrow and Friday. But right now, it's windy conditions that we have around the area. Some wind gusts are up near 50 miles per hour right now. So the wind advisory serving its purpose for us this morning until noon. 44 right now in Bolingbrook. It is 44 in Waukegan, 50 in Chesterton, 49 degrees right now in Crown Point. Windy conditions with us here this morning, but tomorrow our attention turns to snow and a wintry mix that's coming our way. We'll expand on that in my next report. Roz?
It is so windy that we have a tree that was blown down across the UP North tracks in Highland Park. And as a result, there have been several cancellations, delays. So check before you go. This is going to be an ongoing problem through the morning commute. Now, if you're driving, we've got travel times ranging 35 to 55 minutes. That 55-minute trip, that's going to be on the inbound Kennedy. And then we've got this delay on I-88 eastbound going into the tri-state. That whole construction, the interchange of 294, 290, I-88. Take a look at the Reagan Tollway camera at York Road. That delay starts well before Route 83. Tanya and Terrell.
Ross, thank you so much. I want to get to news, an update this morning out of Michigan State University and the shooting there. And the Spartan community is still in shock right now.
We are learning more about the 3 students killed in Monday night's mass shooting.
Yeah, Diane Pathy was here with more on the victims and the investigation. Diane.
Tanya and Terrell, classes are canceled, rather. Michigan State University operating with only essential employees on campus while the investigation into the shooting continues. School officials say they plan to offer counseling to students, faculty, and staff to allow for everyone to process what happened. This morning, a nation in mourning, a heartbreaking vigil on the campus of MSU last night, honoring the victims of another senseless rampage.
I have never experienced this. I don't really know how I'm feeling.
The 3 students killed: sophomore Brian Frazier, president of his fraternity; junior Alexandria Verner, a popular athlete known for her kindness; and Ariel Diamond Anderson, a junior who wanted to become a pediatrician.
We were just hoping that maybe she was hiding somewhere.
Meanwhile, overnight, a clearer picture emerging of the suspect who police say took his own life. Authorities say Anthony Dwayne McRae died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound hours after opening fire in 2 buildings on campus. Detectives say a note found on McRae listed other locations he wanted to attack in Michigan, Colorado, and New Jersey. This morning, investigators are still working to determine a motive, but they say McRae had no connection to the victims or the university, but did have a history of mental illness. Records show he served 18 months in prison for a weapons charge beginning in 2019. Michigan State student Jackie Matthews is from Newton, Connecticut. She was in 6th grade when a gunman killed 20 students and 6 educators at Sandy Hook Elementary in 2012. After the shots rang out Monday night, she says she was once again a witness to carnage.
The fact that the odds of me being in both of those places for 2 mass shootings is unfortunately not as unlikely as we think it is for other people as well. Enough is enough, and it needs to end.
Classes at MSU will resume next Monday. Another vigil is planned on campus tonight to honor the victims. 5 students remain hospitalized in critical condition. Tanya and Terrell.
Diane, appreciate it.
This tragedy comes more than 7 months after the mass shooting in Highland Park. Several people there held a vigil last night honoring the victims at Michigan State and the victims of the shooting in Parkland, Florida. Yesterday marked 5 years since that shooting. 17 people died at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
There will be a campus-wide vigil today at Michigan State. Classes will not continue until next Monday. Hang with us here on ABC7. We'll have updates on our website, news apps, and we're following the investigation. We'll bring you those developments. In the meantime, a memorial is planned today to mark 4 years since the mass shooting at the Henry Pratt Company in Aurora. 5 employees were shot to death at the plant by a coworker. That was on February 15, 2019. This morning, city officials will join community members to remember the victims. The ceremony is at 11 at the David L. Pierce Art and History Center in Aurora, in the Aurora Center in Aurora.
Breaking overnight, a man was shot in a high-rise building in the South Loop.
Yeah, Chicago police SWAT teams were out there early this morning near 14th and Wabash. Jessica D'Onofrio was out there live with an update. Jess?
Well, Tanya and Terrell, the shooting happened right here in this luxury condo building behind me. Police have been inside one of the apartments investigating and collecting evidence. All of this started at around 1:40 this morning. Police say a 27-year-old man was inside a 14th floor apartment with several people when one of the attendees tried to rob him. Police say the offender fired shots, striking the victim in the neck before taking off. The victim was rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital in serious condition, according to authorities. SWAT officers, along with responding officers, had to clear and secure the apartment building at 1333 South Wabash as they searched for the shooter. Police say the shooter was never located and there were no other injuries. Meanwhile, the website for the building says it's a modern luxury high-rise offering 1, 2, and 3-bedroom rentals. Now, back here live, this area is full of surveillance cameras. Right now, CPD calling this an ongoing investigation. Back to you.
Jessica, thank you. An Orland Park man who once appeared on a dating reality show is on the run, wanted for making arrangements to meet a child for a sexual encounter. The person he was actually communicating with was an undercover detective. There's now a nationwide manhunt to find Connor Smith, according to the Lake County Illinois Sheriff's Department. He went to meet the girl last Thursday, but when detectives moved in to arrest him, Smith drove away.
We don't want anyone to approach him, but we want them to contact their local law enforcement. Any police officer in the state of Illinois or anywhere else in the country can take him into custody on these charges.
Smith is charged with several crimes, including traveling to meet a minor and grooming.
Residents of University Park will have a town hall meeting tonight over the continuing issue of lead in the water. Many residents have been using bottled water since a do not consume order was issued back in 2019. They say the problem started in 2018 when the town's water provider, Aqua Illinois, switched its water supply to the Kankakee River. Tonight's meeting is scheduled for 6 o'clock at the First Baptist Church in University Park.
And now to new information about the object shot down from the sky over the U.S. and Canada. There's actually new audio from the fighter pilots tracking those objects.
Meanwhile, lawmakers are still pressing the White House for more information about these incidents. ABC's Ika Jachi is in Washington with the latest this morning.
Good morning. The White House says it's likely these objects are just balloons tied to some benign purpose, an explanation that doesn't sit well with lawmakers.
This morning, there's new information surrounding the Chinese spy balloon. U.S. officials tell ABC News the spy balloon, which was intended for surveillance, may have been inadvertently blown over the U.S. mainland by unusual weather conditions. According to the Washington Post, U.S. military and intelligence agencies had been tracking the balloon for nearly a week, even watching it as it lifted off from its home base near China, eventually taking an unexpected northern turn towards Alaska's Aleutian Islands, where it could have encountered strong winds that pushed it further south. Meanwhile, new dramatic cockpit audio from F-16 fighter pilots tracking that unidentified flying object over Michigan's Lake Huron.
The size of it, it's just so slow and so small and you can't see it.
The White House says the objects could just be balloons tied to some commercial or benign purpose.
The administration is saying we don't yet know what these last 3 objects are and we don't want to characterize them until we recover them. But on the other hand, it wasn't a threat. Both of those things can't be true.
There's a lot of information to recover, and the administration is on top of this and done a very, very good job.
U.S. officials tell us NORAD is working to recalibrate their systems in order to identify threats like spy balloons, all while weeding out things like weather balloons and other similar objects. Ika Jachi, ABC News, Washington.
Back here in Illinois, Governor Pritzker will deliver his State of the State and budget address today at noon. He plans to propose universal schooling for 3- and 4-year-olds. He's calling the program Smart Start Illinois. $440 million would go to finance 5,000 additional seats this fall, more childcare opportunities, and facility construction. Also today, Joliet Mayor Bob Odenkirk presents his State of the City speech. It'll be during the Chamber of Commerce and Industry's February luncheon. That's at 11:30 this morning.
A new poll shows a closer race for Chicago Mayor. Paul Vallas leads with 19%. Then it's Jesus Chuy Garcia, 17%, Lori Lightfoot, 14%, Willie Wilson at 12%. According to this poll, more than 20% of voters are still undecided. That poll was done last week for Northwestern University and a coalition of Latino and Black nonprofits. It's going to feel a lot like springtime out there at the Garfield Park and Lincoln Park Conservatories. Starting today, it's the return of the annual spring flower shows. At Garfield Park, visitors can get up close and personal and a look into the world of bees, don't get stung, and its relationship with blooms. And then the Lincoln Park Conservatory will feature a nod to Chicago's lakefront with its show Cooler by the Lake. Cooler color tones will be used throughout the show to illustrate the chillier spring weather produced by the lake. Both flower shows run through Mother's Day.
Aw, what a nice little activity to go out and do with Mom.
It's beautiful too, it looks like.
Well, your live and local news is just getting started as we stream out loud this morning. And coming up, the FAA is expected to conduct sweeping safety reviews after multiple incidents. What the agency is planning to prevent close calls.
First, though, Tracy's got your AccuWeather forecast. She's tracking first the wind out there, and then we're talking about snow. It's coming up next.
Well, good morning. The rain is gone. We're seeing a mix of clouds and sun this morning, but we are also getting some very strong wind gusts. Some of these gusts up around 50 miles per hour. And that is the reason we have a wind advisory in effect until the noon hour here today. So, yeah, count on it being kind of gusty around here this morning. Tomorrow morning, however, alerts of a different kind. These are winter alerts. We have a winter weather advisory that's here out into DuPage County as well as DeKalb, Point Southwest. I actually think it's highly possible this could be expanded to include Chicago tomorrow. Winter storm watch for more in the way of snow accumulation, likely across the northern suburbs. This is for tomorrow. Now, when the winter weather advisory, really just for some sloppy travel conditions expected tomorrow. It does look like the snow and the mix kind of begin about 6 to 7 a.m. tomorrow, spread throughout the area. Here's 9, 10 o'clock this morning. I think those of you in the southern suburbs, northwest Indiana, will be the last to follow suit with this precipitation that does include a mix as well as all snow. And the all snow component is going to be for those of you kind of north of the Lake Cook County line. And I think many of you near the Wisconsin line tomorrow are going to end up with probably around 6 inches of snow. Even here in the city, I think we are going to get anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of accumulating snow. Roz?
we're looking at increasing travel times on the majority of the expressways, anywhere from 45 minutes to close to an hour. Heading in on the Kennedy and our tollways, we're still seeing sluggish traffic northbound on the Tri-State approaching the Stevenson and I-88 approaching the Tri-State. Now, a couple of crashes I've been keeping an eye on. This one is on northbound 55 at 355. We're still seeing some delays there, but this one, it's kind of in the outer areas near LaSalle. Happened about 3 o'clock this morning, westbound I-80 at Route 251. It's an overturned semi, and it is taking a long time for crews to get all this cleaned up because now we've got a pretty good delay where we normally don't see any kind of delays like that. Tollway cameras, I want you to take a look at this one on I-88, the Reagan at York Road. That is the eastbound traffic. It's actually backed up from Route 83 all the way down to the Tri-State interchange with that whole interchange under construction. Terrell.
All right, got it, Russ. Thank you. Former Vice President Mike Pence will be in Iowa today. He may address his plan to resist the subpoena from the special counsel investigating the effort to overturn the 2020 election. Jack Smith is looking into former President Trump and his role in the January 6th Capitol attack. Investigators want Pence to testify about his interaction with Trump leading up to that day. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley will kick off her presidential campaign today in Charleston. The Republican released a 3.5-minute video yesterday announcing her campaign. Today's event marks the first time she will appear in public as a declared White House hopeful. Texas Senator Ted Cruz told reporters that he plans to run for a third term in the U.S. Senate in 2024. That suggests he may not be running for the White House. Cruz ran for the Republican nomination in 2016. And on the Democratic side, longtime California Senator Dianne Feinstein announced that she will retire at the end of her term. Her political career spans 6 decades. She'll turn 90 in June. The FAA is reviewing airline safety. There have been a series of really scary near misses involving passenger jets. The move follows 2 runway incidents that could have become catastrophic and a deep dive that brought one plane alarmingly close to slamming into the ocean. Here's more now from ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
This morning, the FAA is forming a team of experts to examine flight safety after several recent close calls involving commercial planes.
In the past few months, there have been a series of very serious potential mishaps that could have caused terrible loss of life.
A mid-air scare in December just recently came to light. A United Airlines plane departing Maui took a nosedive, plummeting more than 1,400 feet in about 20 seconds, coming within 775 feet of the Pacific Ocean.
I knew with our kids in between us, this could be it.
Passengers say they were praying for a miracle while others were screaming.
I can remember looking out and then I really thought I saw just a glimpse of the ocean and I thought, what's going on? It was like the Tower of Terror at Disneyland. I mean, I just felt like my stomach was in my throat.
The pilots regained altitude and flew on to San Francisco. United says the pilots are receiving additional training. Another recent close call was at New York's JFK Airport, a Delta plane nearly colliding with an American Airlines flight that was crossing an active runway.
This could have been the worst aviation disaster in U.S. history.
The American Airlines pilots are now complying with subpoenas from the NTSB after they initially declined 3 requests to be interviewed as part of the investigation. There is likely no cockpit recording from either of the American or United close calls. That's because both planes continued with their flight plans and the cockpit data recordings only last for 2 hours.
If an airplane takes off and flies a long distance, it gets overwritten and that data is lost. The FAA is pushing for longer 25-hour recorders so that even if an airplane's on a longer flight, we'll be able to go back and look at the data, figure out what went wrong.
The FAA says the new safety review will examine the U.S. aerospace system's structure, culture, and processes. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
And the FAA says it'll hold a summit next month with industry leaders to talk about what actions need to be taken to improve safety. Hang on here when we come back, and still to stream today when the community is coming together again to talk about stadium renovations at Northwestern University's Ryan Field. This looks really slick. It's coming up next.
Eyewitness News streaming at 7 continues after a break.
Happening today, a meeting is planned in Evanston to discuss stadium renovations at Northwestern University's Ryan Field. The meeting is being organized by Evanston Alderman Eleanor Ravel. It's expected to center on the issue of possible alcohol sales at the rebuilt stadium. Northwestern has announced plans to privately fund the project. Tonight's meeting starts at 7. It can be attended via Zoom. The Chicago Park District's second annual Windy City Sports Clinic takes place today. It is open from 9:30 to 3 at McKinley Park. There will be ice skating, curling, snowshoeing, and more adaptive sports. It's open to all service members.
A new training campus will open this afternoon for service dogs. For veterans, K9s for Veterans will hold a grand opening for its second location out in Joliet. Its Chicago location has been open since 2016 and provides training and resources for veterans and their service dogs.
Right now, we're going to link up with our Good Morning America viewers. I'll have a news update on TV in just a little bit, and you'll see it here as well.
And when we come back, winner revealed, the person who won that record-breaking more than $2 billion Powerball jackpot. That's on the way.
Now, an update from ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Good morning. It's 7:23. I'm Tanya Babich. Chicago police are looking for the person who shot a man in a high-rise building in the South Loop overnight. SWAT teams were there around 1:40 this morning near 14th and Wabash. According to CPD, a 27-year-old man was inside a 14th floor apartment when somebody tried to rob him. And that's when the offender fired shots, hitting the victim in the neck and then running away. The victim was taken to the hospital in serious condition. Let's get a check of our ABC 7 AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Tracy Butler.
Hi there, Tanya. Good morning, everybody. It is windy this morning. Check out some of these current wind gusts. Yeah, not to be confused with the temperatures, but yeah, we're getting some wind gusts over 45 miles per hour. So that does justify our wind advisory in effect until noon today. But you look at the actual temperatures, and some of them are around some of those wind gusts. 44 degrees out at O'Hare. 46 at Northerly Island, 45 degrees out at Midway. Today, we are going to see some sun out there, but windy conditions tomorrow. It's a wintry mix, and it is some snow. We'll take a break, Roz, after this.
Now's the time for a healthy start. So let's move. Let's rest and recharge. And put our health first. Let's be well. To do that, let's eat well. Breathe deep. Find joy in the little moments. And do what we love with who we love. Together, let's live well. Advocate Aurora Health.
Welcome back, everybody. We've had a lot of issues with these high winds, primarily on UP North. They've had several trains that have been canceled and plenty of delays, many as much as 40 minutes because of tree debris. A tree fell down over the tracks near Highland Park. So please check before you go. We also have debris in the road that's causing problems in the Winthrop Harbor area, Lewis and Russell. There's debris on the road there, so please be careful. May want to detour around that for the time being. Travel times, 45 to 55 minutes. That's going to be your average. But we've got a delayed northbound on the Tri-State at 75th Street. You can see it here, and take a look at the camera. It's kind of bouncy because of those winds.
Taking me outside this morning, and I'm loving this temperature still. So, overnight we were over 50 degrees. We've dropped down just a little bit, but still really mild out there for the middle of February. We'll dig into the forecast because we do have some snow to talk about. We'll do that with Tracy in just a little bit. In the meantime, a mystery has been solved out in California. Could you imagine being the winner of a jumbo lottery jackpot? We now know who that person is. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
This morning, we now know the name of the California man who won the record $2 billion Powerball jackpot.
The only player to match all 6 numbers of the historic Powerball drawing last November is Edwin Castro.
He's the winner of the largest single lottery jackpot in history, but chose not to show his face. Instead, he released this statement read by lottery officials.
As much as I am shocked and ecstatic to have won the Powerball drawing, the real winner is the California public school system.
3 of the top 10 jackpots in history were won in California. Officials say those drawings alone raised more than $150 million for California schools. As for Edwin Castro, he had the option of taking the money in payments or one lump sum.
Edwin Castro chose that lump sum, which for this drawing is nearly $1 billion, $997.6 million.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
I got to figure out if I know any Edwin Castros. That's a lot of money. Coming up this morning, we'll get you an update on today's top stories. We'll also check in with Tracy and Roz, get the latest on weather and traffic. Hang with us. We're streaming at 7. We'll be right back.
You're watching ABC 7 Eyewitness News at 7, streaming live now.
Bottom of the hour now at 7:30. Let's take a look at some of the morning's top stories. And Chicago police are investigating an attempted robbery and shooting in a high-rise building near 14th and Wabash in the South Loop. It happened early this morning. CPD says a 27-year-old man was inside a 14th floor apartment with other people around 1:40 in the morning when one of those people tried to rob him. The suspect fired shots, seriously hurt that man. No word on any arrests right now. A nationwide warrant has been issued for an Orland Park man. Police say Connor Smith thought he was making arrangements to meet a child for a sexual encounter. The person he was communicating with was actually an undercover detective. This is according to authorities. Governor Pritzker is expected to float a plan for universal preschool and expanded daycare today in his State of the State and Budget address. That's at noon today in Springfield. Hey, everybody, bottom of the hour. Welcome back. And look who it is.
It's me.
Right. Usually you're over here.
I know.
Nice to have you over here.
I like to be over here.
On my left side. It's my good side, too.
All your sides are good.
I don't know. When people say that, I'm like, do people really have a good side and a bad side?
I know.
I've never thought that, but
I wouldn't know what to pick.
Me either. Slap me on the left side, you can slap me on the right too. It's all good. Let's go outside, see what's going on right now. I know you're going to talk about weather, Tracy, and 44 degrees.
Slap.
Yeah, it's going to be like a whiplash.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a spanking almost.
Well, I don't know about that. But, you know what? The wind gusts are out there this morning, and they're pretty healthy. We've had some wind gusts up near 50 miles per hour this morning, and for that reason, the Weather Service did issue this wind advisory. It takes us until noontime today. Still this afternoon, I will call it breezy, but right now 45 degrees in Elmhurst, it's 52 in Whiting, and 45 degrees currently in the Frankfort area. So it's a windy Wednesday, but tomorrow that slap we are talking about is this. We are going to get snow here tomorrow. Some of us are going to have kind of a wintry mix around the area. Not a pretty day ahead. But let's check out how pretty things are on the roads and rails. I'm not so sure about that this morning, though, Roz.
Yeah, they're pretty slow. That's what we're looking at. It is 45, 50 minutes to an hour. That's going to be the average inbound travel time. And this delay on northbound 55 at 355 is because of an earlier crash. It hasn't really cleared up yet, but we have some other issues. There's a new crash. This one's in Carroll Stream. It's on County Farm Road near North Avenue. And then these winds, man, debris on the road, traffic lights out. In North Chicago, we have two sets of traffic lights out along Route 137 at Lewis Avenue and also at Route 131. So it is causing delays in both directions. Treat it as a four-way stop and just be patient. You will get there. Tracy and Terrell.
Come on over here, Roz. Thank you so much. Let's get to what we're talking about today, and we start with the Joker sequel. Lady Gaga posted this picture to Twitter, and it's the first look that we've had.
Oh.
Yeah, of Lady Gaga. Scary. I know. Believed to be playing DC mainstay Harley Quinn in the sequel to Joker. I've got to get the whole storyline figured out in my head of what's going on. So you can see her up close and personal with Joaquin Phoenix right there, who plays the title character. Filming has already started. You got to wait for this one, though. It's going to be a minute. Oh, what's this? I haven't seen this.
Oh.
I thought it was just a picture.
Is that part? That's.
It looks like it's part of it. Okay. Yeah.
Did you
that's
see the
nice.
first one?
I did not. Did you?
No. Roz, did you see the Joker movie?
The Joker, the first one?
The first Joker movie?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, right? It was a minute ago.
Remember, you know?
Yeah. I know it was dark. Everybody was talking about how awesome it was and how Joaquin Phoenix had to literally take himself to another place in time in order to get to that character. Yeah. People were even concerned about him a little bit. Here he is right here.
Oh, gosh.
I know, right? Isn't it creepy?
So, but he is an actor. Like when he played Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you really believed he was Johnny Cash.
Mm-hmm.
Very talented.
He's really good. Yeah. So we'll see how that turns out and what I think Gaga's going to be good in this. She can do everything. I know. Right? I know.
Yeah.
I was thinking this morning, I'm like, has she done a Super Bowl? And I'm like, yes, she sure has done a Super Bowl.
Yes, she has.
Yeah, she's done everything. So it looks like another good one that's coming up. We'll see how it shakes out.
I think it's too dark for me.
You're not going to watch it?
I'll have nightmares. I will. I will have terrible nightmares. I cannot see that.
Yeah,
I can do it, but I have to psych myself up for it. You know, you have to be in the right frame of mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And had a little bit of sleep, too.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, want to get to Dunkin' Donuts. They released some outtakes from that Super Bowl commercial that featured Ben Affleck. And that we've seen like little short clips throughout the morning. We got the whole thing here. Let's watch this together.
Welcome to Medford, Massachusetts, Duncan. Scenic Medford, why travel when you're already there? That's our slogan. You can have whatever you want for free.
Oh, I know you, Ben Affleck, brother.
Get out of here. I'm struggling. I'm gonna spill it. Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't make it function. Malfunction. Not as easy as it looks operating this apparatus, I bet.
Medium hot black.
We're out of coffee.
Oh, you're out of coffee.
Yeah, we get no coffee and no donuts.
What do you got?
Water.
You're me.
I'm trying to compensate with comedy for my ineptitude. All right, what can I do for you? Dunkin' Run, medium or large coffee, get a donut for an incremental $1. Are you interested? I'm gonna ask you to please take the deal, sir. You need me to right now, sir, I want you to take the Dunkin' Run. Double sausage, turkey sausage, egg and cheese, maple sugar, bacon, black, peppercorn.
Are you all right this morning?
I'm coming unglued. How have you been, all right? How's your mother? Good. Father, all right? It's even better. Good. All right, I'll see you around. All right, take it easy. Not your typical Dunkin' technician. Usually they're much smarter than you.
I love that, the one woman's face where she's like, what?
I know, right?
Is that him for real? I just wonder if anybody pulled up and didn't realize it was actually him. And they're like, what is up with this dude in the drive-thru today? What's going on?
It's too funny.
Because it seems like they're all not actors.
That's what I was gonna mention that, right? Like I thought for a commercial like this, she would pay people and have them act like it. That doesn't look like it at all.
That looks genuine.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking too, like what would I do if I pulled up to a drive-thru window and saw him or anybody, right? I mean, Gaga, Beyonce in a drive-thru window.
You would get out of your car and you would
be
go
like,
in the store. You'd be out there taking
selfies, right? Oh, I saw one woman doing that.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, and that's something else.
Leading way
right
out
up there. It's really, really crazy to see that. And I think that was one of my favorite commercials. I think that might have been my favorite commercial. And J-Lo is who really sold it for me when she came in at the end. And she's like, yeah, what are you doing here?
Well, that seemed like a genuine conversation you would have with your partner, your friend, whomever.
Husband,
right?
Yeah. What are you doing in this drive-thru?
Too funny.
Yeah, it sure is.
I think I say that in my house every day.
What are you doing here?
Really? What are you doing?
I thought about this too with this, and this is with Elvis Presley. What is this? So he's got this private jet, right? And it's finally found a home. That's Elvis's jet right there. 1962 Lockheed 1329 Jet Star. Just sold at auction for $260,000. Dilapidated planes, been parked in that desert for close to 40 years in New Mexico, just sitting there. So the jet was sold last month on what would have been the King's 88th birthday. Of course, a lot of people are talking about him right now because of Austin Butler in the movie and how awesome that was. But what the heck are you going to do with an airplane? Especially an airplane that old.
And how much repair work needs to be done on a jet that's been parked for 40 years and hasn't been touched since? Now, it looks like the inside, where the passengers would sit, looks
It's pretty good. Yeah.
But I'd be worried about that cockpit.
I suspect they might refurbish it and use it like a museum piece.
I was just thinking that.
You know, give tours.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's what would make sense,
Yeah,
right? Otherwise, what are you going to put it in the backyard?
Yeah, no.
I'm going to learn how to fly, and I'm going to fly to all the vacation destinations that I want all over the world.
But to think that's been sitting there.
I know.
Doing nothing.
For all these years. Yeah, it'll find a good home, I'm sure. Eyewitness News, streaming out loud. We'll take a quick break. We're back with more in 90 seconds. Hang tight.
Good morning to you. Hey, before you step out the door this morning, just know, you may want to hold on to that door, even the car door, as these winds are still continuing to be very gusty, and a wind advisory stays in effect here until noontime today. I want you to get this on your radar for tomorrow, because we do have winter alerts that will be going into effect technically at 3 a.m. tomorrow, staying in effect through a good portion of tomorrow evening too. Winter storm watches for more in the way of accumulating snow. Could get 4 to 6 inches of snow near the Wisconsin line tomorrow. Those of you under the winter weather advisory, this is going to be more of a mix, sleet, snow, rain, very likely. And I highly think it's possible that we will see additional counties in this advisory tomorrow, including more of Cook County. Now, it doesn't look like any precipitation begins around here until closer to maybe 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, once we get it going, it will keep on going into the afternoon. And I think the afternoon and evening hours are going to be more impacted than overall the morning commute tomorrow. So as we do take a look, you can see how much snow we're anticipating. I think across some of the far northern suburbs, southern Wisconsin, you are looking at maybe climbing up around 6 inches of snow there. Currently, it's 44 degrees and cloudy out at O'Hare, but those winds are making it feel a little bit colder out there. Roz?
We're looking at some very heavy delays on the expressways and on one of the tollways anyway. I-88 really stacked up, merging into the tri-state because of the construction going on the 290, 294 ramps. We also have delays in the Will and DuPage County corridors of I-55, but these travel times anywhere from 50 minutes to an hour 5. That hour 5, of course, is going to be on the Kennedy. It is just bumper to bumper. And you can see these high winds, the wind gusts that Tracy's talking about, this camera just kind of moving around, shimmying around a little bit every time the wind gusts kick in. We've got a lot of suburban crashes right now in Addison, Army Trail and Swift Road, and we've got delays, long delays on Army Trail in both directions there. We also have a West Chicago crash, Hazel and Bishop Streets, and the power outages. This could be because of the winds. Now we have 3 sets of traffic signals that are malfunctioning in North Chicago. The ones at 137 at Lewis and 131, and then 131 at Calvin Drive. So please be careful. It is causing delays in all directions where we're seeing that. Terrell, back to you.
All right, Ross, thank you so much. Today, the global childhood cancer community celebrates International Childhood Cancer Day. In the U.S., 1 in 285 children will be diagnosed with cancer. And the goal of this camp is to make the lives of those children a little bit better. President Jeff Infacino is here along with 2-time cancer survivor and Camp One Step staff member Colleen McGrath. It's good to see you guys this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Terrell. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really well, thanks. Thanks for making some time for us this morning. Jeff, I'll actually start with you. This is a really big project and a big endeavor. How did this whole thing get started?
Well, it got started 45 years ago, actually. We're going to celebrate our 45th summer camp this year. And the whole intent was to, when cancer diagnosis happens, everything changes in the world of the child and the families. And we wanted to make sure that kids didn't lose their identity of being a kid. And so we started there and saying it's not about chemotherapy treatment. It's not about doctors and nurses and hospitals. It's about the ability to be a kid again. And we provide 11 different programs for kids to be able to do that. And it's the most important thing is to say, be a kid and enjoy life, dream again. Don't let cancer define you. Don't let it say I can't. Let it say I can.
Yeah, and you said it well. It is the most important thing, just being a kid and being able to be a kid. Colleen, did you go to this camp?
I did. So in 1998, I was diagnosed with a rare form of pancreatic cancer. And at that time, my only experience with cancer was losing my mom to colon cancer 8 months before my diagnosis. Wow. So as you can imagine, it was a really dark, really challenging time. And I was really unhappy. The treatments, the surgeries you have to do for cancer are brutal. And I lost a lot of hope, and I wanted to give up doing treatment and pass away. And at the time, my nurse and my doctor were part of our volunteer medical team. And they asked before I made any of those decisions that I tried going to Camp One Step for the first time.
Your story, Colleen. So your mom passed away from colon cancer when you were a teenager. You just mentioned this. 8 months later, you find out that you have cancer yourself. Then you turn 19, your dad passes away, also from colon cancer. Then when you're 28, you were also diagnosed with colon cancer. how in the world did you get through all this?
Well, I have an incredible family, but I also have this really incredible second family that's camp. There's this really powerful thing having this community that everyone kind of understands what you've been through and can relate to you. It's really isolating as a kid to be the only kid in your school or your community that's had a pediatric cancer diagnosis. And all of a sudden to go through that loss and that hardship, but be surrounded with people that understood and just wanted you to be a normal kid was really life-changing. All of a sudden it was about making s'mores around a campfire, jumping in a lake, laughs with friends. It felt like I was kind of given the gift of like childhood and community back again. And it felt like losing my dad, having cancer again, that I had this incredible second family around me to get me through it.
Jeff, I hear this story and I can't believe it. The strength and resilience that it takes to get through something like this. Do you hear stories like this often?
Colleen is a story that we hear throughout our community because so many journeys are similar and so many journeys are different throughout. But we hear from our families consistently with that same message is thank you for being there for us. It is a second family. We hear from parents that when their child goes to camp, they say, thank you for giving us our child back again because they're laughing, they're believing again. I hear them being who they were. Cancer does a lot of things. It also disconnects the family. The most important thing we try to do is look at the entire family. We have 11 programs. 6 of those are for the child that's being diagnosed. 2 of those are for the child that's being diagnosed and their siblings. And then we have 3 family programs that one is specifically for siblings. We try to reconnect those families through camp. And camp is all about together being as one. And we always say one fight, one family, because every journey may be different, but we do it together. And we do it through taking kids to Utah skiing, or we have a Chicago day camp or a summer camp. In fact, our Utah camp starts in this weekend where we're going to go down Double Diamonds at camp. But the most important thing about what we do is we try to say you can. And as I mentioned, kids can go skiing that are visually impaired, or they're in a wheelchair, because we have adaptive skiing at these locations. So it's really important for kids to say, yeah, I might have a new normal based on my cancer diagnosis, but it's just as beautiful as it was before, and I could do so many new things.
And Jeff, we'll let you guys go here in just a sec. We know that dealing with a cancer diagnosis is one thing. We also know that cancer is expensive. And it's expensive for the whole family. So when it comes to this camp, how much does it cost?
It's absolutely free. Everything we do is free. And one thing I also want to mention, Terrell, is we talked about the in-person side, but we have a full slate of digital programs that people can join from wherever they are in the country or in the world. We've had kids join from London or Ecuador. So our whole mission is to get camp to kids, whether they can join in person or they can join us from their hospital beds. It's really important that they feel camp.
Jeff, appreciate your work. Colleen, thank you so much for sharing your story and being a survivor. We appreciate your time, both of you. Thank you so much.
Terrell, thank you, and have a wonderful day.
You too. Both of you take care. And right after the show, we're going to post information about all of Camp One Step's free programs and how to donate to help make sure that those programs stay free for all families that are dealing with cancer. So important. We'll take a quick break. We're back with more right after this.
A mainstay of the early stages of the World Wide Web has been put out to pasture. Tech giant Microsoft officially disabled Internet Explorer for desktop computers. The browser officially launched back in 1995 for Windows devices, the last of Internet Explorer's 11 versions released in 2013. And Microsoft says Explorer has become outdated. The company says Microsoft Edge is the default browser for Windows 10.
I haven't used it a whole bunch anyway, because I would use it and then it would say you need to download.
Yes!
I'm like, well, wait a minute. I have to download a new browser or a better browser? So yeah, it's been retired for a long time.
I guarantee you I get a call from my parents today. I guarantee
Do they still use it?
you I will get a call. I couldn't see you.
What's going on with this thing?
Yeah, but you're right. Every time you would accidentally go to it or something, that would come
And be
up.
like, yeah, time for an update.
Right.
Yeah, good luck to your parents today. To call them.
I know.
Time to download a new one.
Yep.
We'll take a quick break. We're back after this.
Eyewitness News streaming at 7 continues after a break.
So what do you think about this? The famous prop box of chocolates, which was featured in the 1994 movie Forrest Gump, has been won at auction for a whopping $25,000. And get this. So this is cool. The box is autographed by Hanks, who of course won an Oscar for the movie. The downside, there's no chocolates in the box. And I guess you wouldn't have wanted. You probably wouldn't have wanted to eat 30-year-old chocolates to begin with. For $25,000, I would. Or I'd like to have the option. We know that Ripley Entertainment was the highest bidder at that auction. $25,000.
That's a lot of money.
For an empty
For a
box
box.
of chocolate. For a box.
It's
For a box. And an autograph.
I'd rather have Elvis's plane.
Yes, right.
$25,000. Sure,
Yeah,
that's a
take
steal.
that. Sure it is. Yep. Oh, man.
Wow.
I know.
I can't think of anything, lady, I would ever bid that kind of money. Not that I have it to do anyway, but.
No, I'm trying to think too. God, what would I want? But not $25,000 for a box of chocolates, though. That ain't gonna happen.
No, I'd want more of like an experience.
There you go. Let's go somewhere.
Everything's about the experience.
There it is. Let's fly. For Tracy and Roz, I'm Terrell Brown. Thanks for watching Eyewitness News at 7 o'clock. Tanya Babbage is here. She's going to have a news update, weather and traffic updates as well on the way. We're going to hear from everybody in just a bit. From everybody here at ABC 7, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7.
This has been Eyewitness.